His life was taken way too soon, but his dream hasn't died.
Tonight, the world remembers Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Dr. King was only 39 years old when he died. And that's very, very young. He changed the world forever.
From Memphis to the nation's capital, memorial services were held all across the country. Today marks 50 years since the civil rights leader was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. A flower wreath was placed beneath the MLK Memorial in Washington, D.C.
I stand in a place where my grandfather stood 50 years ago on the date of the death of Dr. King. And I am finally here, along with the leaders of the Metropolitan Council, to honor a great American leader by naming a part of Charlotte Avenue for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And it is official. Look at that. Nashville will be getting a roadway named after the great civil rights leader. Mayor Briley held that ceremonial bill signing today to rename a part of Charlotte Avenue after Dr. King. The official roadway name will take place, or name change, that'll take place in November. In Memphis, they're still trying to fighting to keep Dr. King's dreams alive.
Tens of thousands of people took to the streets demanding racial justice and equal wages, the same reasons Martin Luther King Jr. came to Tennessee 5 decades ago. News Channel 5's Chris Conti is live in Memphis tonight.
And Chris, I imagine it was a powerfully emotional day for everyone.
Well, Rory, that is because when Dr. Martin Luther King came here to Memphis 50 years ago, he didn't just come with a dream, he came with a purpose. He was fighting for the rights of sanitation workers who were not being paid enough, 2 of them who ended up dying. And in the end, Dr. Martin Luther King would give his own life for this cause. He was struck by a bullet at 6:01 p.m., this exact moment exactly 50 years ago today. And so right now, this entire city is observing a moment of silence, and bells are tolling throughout the city of Memphis right now. They are still fighting here against the same injustices Martin Luther King devoted his life to.
Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech.
He was our leader. He was the leader of the people.
That the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
What does it mean to dream? What does it mean to have courage?
And I was 15 years old at the time.
What does it mean to still be in mourning 5 decades later?
Yeah, it seemed like it was just yesterday.
On the streets of Memphis today, Shirley Evans became an agent for change because of a man she never met.
I can compare him to Moses. I would compare him to Moses. God sent him to deliver the people.
Her hands held the same sign as sanitation workers who marched with Martin Luther King 50 years ago. All they wanted was dignity and decency.
Not far enough. We got some more work to do.
Today was no different. On the very same streets, on the very same route Dr. Martin Luther King marched in 1968, the fight against racial inequality was alive and well.
There's still work that we need to do. It's almost like it never happened.
At 75 years old, Betty Magnus remembers the moment Martin Luther King was killed on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel.
It's very important to keep the movement going.
To actually walk in the footsteps of where my ancestors walked and think about what they were experiencing.
Determined to keep going, they marched to the church where Dr. King gave his final speech.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead.
It was almost as if he knew his own destiny that day.
We lost someone that didn't mind losing his life for us.
His was the kind of loss that bridges generational gaps. Gwendolyn Hunter came here today with her great-great-grandchildren.
The dreamer sleeps, but his dreams live on. I want them to know about his legacy and what his dream was.
50 years ago, Martin Luther King came to Memphis with a dream. 50 years later, they still aren't ready to let it rest.
But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
All 3 of Dr. King's children are here in Memphis today, along with a number of dignitaries, including President Bill Clinton and President Jimmy Carter. Governor Haslam is also here today. The city of Memphis will observe another moment of silence at 7:05 p.m. tonight. That is the moment that Dr. King was pronounced dead exactly 50 years ago. We are live in Memphis this evening. Chris Conti, News Channel 5.